Welcome to Psycho Cinema Therapy Theater. Well, it's been a while since I've been to a theater, but the last week I went to see Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. And about a week after I saw that, I watched the Kirk Douglas movie Ulysses, and I want to talk about both of them today. Now, there is a particular pleasure in watching the same myth get told twice by filmmakers who couldn't be more different in temperament, technology, or era. Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, released in this era, 2026, and Mario Camerini's Ulysses, released in 1954, both set out to bring Homer to Ithaca, and both succeed on their own terms, but they succeed by making almost opposite choices about what an epic is supposed to look like. This contrast explains the persistent, critical debate over the newer film's visual style, and it's a good entry point for thinking about what these two productions were actually trying to do. First, let's go to Nolan's Odyssey, monument over spectacle. Nolan's film is the first feature ever shot on 70mm IMAX cameras, with Hoyt van Hoytema, Nolan's regular collaborator since Interstellar, behind the lens. Matt Damon anchors an enormous ensemble. Anne Hathaway, Tom Holland, Robert Pattinson, Zendaya, Charlize Theron, Lupita Nyong'o, John Bernthal, and Nolan wrote, produced, and directed, adapting from Emily Wilson's celebrated 2017 translations while drawing visual inspiration from Ray Harryhausen's stop-motion monsters. The production went on location across Morocco, Greece, Italy, Scotland, Iceland, and Malta, with a reported budget north of $250 million. Critically, the film has landed close to where Nolan usually lands. Hailed by many as a career-capping achievement, a cinematic triumph, even the crowning achievement of 2026. But not without real pushback on one specific point. Reviewers have reportedly flagged the film's darkness as a genuine flaw rather than a stylistic quirk. One critic called it too dark and monochromatic. Reviewers have reportedly flagged the film's darkness as a genuine flaw rather than a stylistic quirk. One critic called it too dark and monochromatic. Another noted that Nolan and van Hoytema's choice to shoot key sequences in heavy darkness with no clear sense of geography doesn't always make for the best viewing experience. And the Time Review went further, saying that the film looks muddy and underwhelming, even in IMAX, contrasting it unfavorably with the sunlit Greek and Italian locations of Umberto Pasolini's smaller 2024 Odyssey adaptation, The Return. Even critics who loved the film conceded the point in passing. Yes, it's dark a lot of the time, wrote one, before arguing the film earns its length and its mark anyway. This is, by a wide margin, the single most consistent critical friction point on the whole film. Extraordinary technical craft to monumental scale, wrapped in a color and lighting palette that a meaningful slice of critics find genuinely hard to see. Now, let's look at Ulysses. Technicolor as the whole argument. Camerini's Ulysses was born from an entirely different set of pressures. It's Hollywood on the Tiber, post-war Italian-American co-production, bankrolled by Dino De Laurentiis, the man behind King Kong, and Carlo Ponte, shot largely on Mediterranean locations along Ulysses' own mythic route, and photographed by Harold Rawson, with an uncredited young Mario Bava, who would later become a horror auteur in his own right, contributing to the visuals. Kirk Douglas plays Ulysses with the same open-faced, athletic charisma he brought to everything in the 1950s. Silvana Mangano does striking double duty as both Penelope and Circe. Anthony Quinn shows up as Antinios. The film's whole reason for being, honestly, was Technicolor. In the early 50s, American and European audiences were being pulled toward television, and lush, wide, saturated color on a big screen was one of the few things a movie theater could offer that a living room couldn't. Reviewers at the time praised the film precisely for the qualities about the Technicolor. The sea and the sky are strikingly blue. The islands green and wild with colorful and spectacular cinematography. Even critics who found the adaptation thin or the pacing sluggish, Boswell Crowther at the New York Times dinged it as technically manufactured next to Homer's own eloquence. But it's also one of the great adventure narratives in Western literature, full of monsters, seduction, and swashbuckling escape. Which is exactly the register Camerini leaned into. Where the debate turns from taste into substance is when critics argue that Nolan's darkness isn't just tonally justified, but a functional problem. When the geography of a fight or a storm becomes genuinely hard to track because the frame has gone too murky to read. That's less, is darkness an appropriate mood for the Odyssey, and more, did the IMAX presentation actually deliver what a $250 million once-in-a-generation theatrical experience promised? Reasonable critics have landed on both sides of that second question, and plenty of viewers walking out of theaters this summer had landed in the too dark column while still admiring the film overall. There is something apt about it. Nolan's shadow-drenched Ithaca versus Camerini's sunlit one is basically the archetype of shadow itself, playing out at the level of film stock. One Odysseus descends into the unconscious to find his way home. The other never really leaves the light of day. Thank you for watching Psycho Cinema Therapy Theater, and if you like this show, then please like and subscribe and consider becoming a member. Thanks for watching.